Hey everybody, Unstable Gamer here, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to Lord of the Rings, Heroes of Middle-earth. Today we're going to talk about the Mines of Moria. The raid is just a few days away, and there's been a lot of information about it. There's been an article written by the developers. There's a developer diary out there as well. I'll have some links in the description below so you can go ahead and check them out. But we got some very good tips on it, so let's go ahead, discuss it, and also I'm going to go over the teams that I'm going to use. But first, before we do, if you're just now finding this channel and you want to stay up to date with this and other games, consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out. All right, and welcome back. Very exciting stuff. We have our first raid coming to the game, and we know that there are no character restrictions, which is awesome. We don't know if that's going to be the case for every raid, but we do know that that is the case for this raid, which is great, because our rosters are a little thin right now anyway, right? So we have a few things to take a look at. We have this article here. I'm just going to briefly highlight a few things. Then we're going to go over into a snap of the video that was put out. Again, I'll have links in the description below for everybody so you can check it out. Definitely worth a listen on that dev diary. It's only a few minutes. And then I'm going to go ahead and take you through the different teams that I'm going to be using and who I've been building up since we heard about the raids. So first, Mines of Moria. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. We know that it's supposed to be here on the 26th. Now, one thing to keep in mind is all this information here is subject to change. So if something happens and it can't happen, well then, they'll definitely get us an update for it. But as far as right now, July 26th is when the raid is going to start, and it's going to be coming out in chapters. So we got the different chapters here, and you have the time frames that they're going to be coming out. So going all the way into October, again, dates are not final. So just understand over the next few months, we're going to be going into this raid. We're going to be having some fun. Now, ultimately, our goal in this raid is to unlock Gandalf, which I think is going to be awesome. You're not going to be able to unlock Gandalf in that first chapter. It's going to be through this entire raid and making it to the end and unlocking shards and things like that. So you can go ahead and get him unlocked. But that's going to be awesome. Can't wait to see him and his kit. I haven't seen his kit yet. Gandalf, all right, so different rewards and things that we're going to be getting in the raid. Right here, remember you have a guild track and you have a personal track, right? With these different rewards here. Your personal track will also have some gems as well, and the guild track is also going to have some ability materials. Uncommon is rare and rare, as well as these crystals, the light and the shadow crystals, that are very difficult to get, but at least we have ways to farm them. But those are going to be available in the raid as well. So some very exciting stuff. I cannot wait to see if I can go ahead and get this guy unlocked. But let's take a look at some things that were revealed in the raid. So this is chapter 1, and a few things that he had mentioned is we're going to have 5 attempts. So you want to make sure to have multiple teams, and those attempts can be banked if you feel that you've hit your max score, right? Once you bank your points for that attempt, that team is going to be exhausted, and you're not going to be able to continue to use that team in that chapter. In the next chapter, when that comes around, we're obviously going to be able to use those teams again. So just keep that in mind. Also, the longer the orcs stick around as they pop up, the stronger they get. They get enraged. They'll continue to get enraged. They'll get stronger. They'll get more dangerous. They'll definitely wipe you out much quicker. So we definitely want to take them out as quickly as we can. One of the things that they said was, one of the orcs they said was the linchpin of this whole raid, and I can see why, is this bomber that's coming up, this orc bomber. Look at this. Gain 4,000 points for every enemy orc defeated by an enemy orc bomber. Now, one thing to keep in mind, they have this explosive in it. It's going to take 2 turns to enact, right? You're going to have the act of getting ready and prepping for that throw, and then that second turn, they're going to go ahead and throw that. But they told us that that explosive is slippery, so he could drop it. Definitely want to do some damage to that orc bomber, get him to drop that explosive and take out orcs on his side of the field, because that's going to net you tons of points here. So here's the point breakdown. Definitely make sure, and again, this was suggested, to go through and read the kits for each one of these orcs as they pop up. Understand what the can and can't do, but they also gave some additional tips as far as what to expect throughout the raid, what types of things and teams to keep in mind. A team that maybe do AoE damage, because maybe that's something that you need for that encounter. Maybe a team that that has a single target damage dealer on there in order to take out these orc bombers, to get them to drop. the explosive to cause the damage on their side of the field. So definitely want to keep those types of things in mind. Maybe even managing boons, things like that. So there's going to be a lot of cool stuff. There's a lot of stuff we don't know. Once we get into the raid, we're going to know and understand a lot of stuff, which is a lot of these things are going to make sense, which I think is very cool. Now, as far as the teams, I watched a couple people's videos on this. Boylon, I liked what he did as far as organizing his teams using tier makers, so I decided to do that as well. But here's the teams that I have that I'm currently working on to be prepared for the raid. Now, my two strongest teams are my Rivendell Elves and my Road to Rivendell team. So those two are going to be running through there. They're going to do well. Road to Rivendell, great team. You've got a lot of boons. You got a lot of you got some great healing. You've got some dispelling of boons. You've also and banes. You've also have revives with Elrond. So there's a lot of great things happening with this team. Road to Rivendell, I think really they're an underestimated team. They're definitely a long-term team because you have that Gardeners event that's happening. But you've got some great stuff there. You've got healing over time. You've got a lot of damage. You've got some AoE damage. So there's a little bit of everything in there. You got a decent tank. So I think that team is going to do well in there. You also have my Isengard team. Isengard is a great team. If you're not working on them, definitely do it. They've got a lot of healing as well because they could dish out a lot of Banes. And as you're dishing out Banes, you're healing your own team. They've got a lot of great utility. Next is Rohan. I have them further down on the list. I haven't worked on them as much. Their healer here, you have to get out of the store, use gems, so he's a little more tougher to build up. But you definitely want to have them because they're going to be good. You've got a lot of counterattacks there, and I think that's going to come in handy. And then my fifth team, I think really when you take a look at teams, those are really the teams, the main teams in the games. You've got Mordor in there that does pretty well, but some massive AoE damage. I think when it comes down to teams, these are the main teams really. And maybe Mordor if you really put a lot of effort into Mordor. But my fifth team is pretty much just a mosh pit of characters that I have. So I've got a really beefy tank with this guy. We've got a good healer over here. We've got a summoner. We've got a tank and healer here. We got a damage dealer. So they're definitely not going to do as well as these other teams. But those are the teams that I'm currently working on to bring into this raid. I'm very excited for it. I can't wait to see everything they've got in store for us and kind of how all these pieces of information we've been getting over the last few weeks, how they come together in this raid once we step foot in the Mines of Moria. All right, everybody, that's what I had for you. Just a quick overview of what to expect with the raids, a few tips that were given by the developers and some teams that I'm working on. Very curious, what are you working on? Who are your top 3 teams? And are you excited for the raid? All right, everybody, that's what I had for you. As always, I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch the video. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button and share your thoughts and questions in the comment section below. Take care, everybody, and we'll talk to you next time.